I'm sorry that I can't be with you this evening, but I am there with you in spirit and honored to speak with you through this videotape. The Waterville Boys and Girls Club and YMCA have been dear to me and to my family for 9 decades. In the early 1920s, there was a movement in Waterville to provide activities for our youth during out-of-school time. The leadership of the community, city officials, the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary Club, Colby College, and many individual citizens explored the alternatives. From this effort, on December 12, 1924, the Waterville Boys Club opened on Temple Street for its first 100 youth members. Frank Goodrich, a Colby graduate, was the first director, and Dutchie Bernhard was the first program director and coach. With the aid of many volunteers, they mentored the youth members for over 2 decades. During that time, my family lived at Hedda Falls and then on Front Street. My brothers, Paul, Johnny, Robbie, and I walked up Temple Street to the club almost every day. We participated in many of its programs, especially basketball, but also the woodshop, the arts and crafts, and the Keystone Leadership Club. In a very real and practical way, the club helped shape our lives. In fact, the first job I ever had, and one of the most important lessons in life, was at the club. From an early age, my brother Robbie was an entrepreneur. Somehow he got himself hired to provide the janitor services at the club and at the office building next door, and he hired me to help him. So every night after the club closed, I cleaned the toilets, swept the floors, emptied the waste baskets in both buildings, while Robbie sat in the director's office talking on the phone to his girlfriend. At the end of the first week, he paid me $10, which was a huge sum of money to me at that time. I thought it was fair to split the proceeds, even though I did all the work. About a year later, by accident, I learned that he was getting a total of $50 a week from the 2 concessions. When I confronted him, he said I should be grateful to him, because if he hadn't gotten the concessions, I wouldn't have a job. Then he said to me, "You don't know anything about business, but I'm management and you're labor, and management always gets paid more than labor." I didn't have any answer to that, but I quietly resolved to someday become part of management. It didn't turn out quite that way, but it gave me a lot of incentive in my life. 1944 was a moment in history that our community will never forget. The Waterville Purple Panthers basketball team was undefeated and won the state and the New England high school basketball championships. Almost every member of the team was a product of the Boys Club. They included Red Noel, Dickie Canavan, Teddy Shiro, Len Salter, Johnny and Normie Jobber, and my brothers Paul and Johnny. Johnny, who you all know as the Swisher, was named the most valuable player. It was, without a doubt, one of the most proud moments in my life, and I think just about everyone in Waterville felt the same way. Their picture will hang forever in honor in the club gym. In 1948, the Waterville YMCA was established. Basil Hanscom was the first executive secretary, and he was followed by George Keller. The Y complemented the club's program, focusing on teens and families. In 1950, thanks to a contribution by Mr. and Mrs. George Averill, the Boys Club moved to the former Colby Women's Recreation Building on Main Street. In turn, the Y moved to what had been the Boys Club building on Temple Street. In the 1960s, the Girls Club was established at the Brookside School, thanks to the efforts of Bucky Runcer, Jermaine Orloff, and Joanna Dennis, among others. Around the same time, Mona Tracy contacted the Y leadership, which included Richard Hawks, Lester Jolovitz, and George Keller, and an agreement was reached to establish Camp Tracy on McGrath Pond. The Y continued to expand and kicked off a capital campaign to move to a new facility on Pleasant Street that included activities for all ages. In the 1970s, the Boys and Girls Club mounted its own capital campaign to renovate the facility on Main Street. It included an Olympic-sized pool in a new wing and greatly enhanced the swimming program. In the 1990s, Ken Walsh was hired to lead the club, and he has done so with great leadership, energy, and enthusiasm for 30 years. He developed a strong bond with Harold Alfond and his family. He was greatly assisted by board members including Phil Roy, Pam Jabber Trinward, and others, in a new capital campaign that changed the course of the club and led to a once-in-a-lifetime merger. Bill Mitchell, Mark Nail, Toby Schneider, city officials, and many others joined to respond to a challenge by Harold Alfond to combine two great national and local organizations, the Boys and Girls Club and the YMCA. At the same time, they renovated the Waterville Municipal Swimming Pool. In May 1999, after years of effort, the Alfond Youth and Community Center opened its doors to the public. Attending the celebration were the Alfond family, Governor Angus King, U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell, and hundreds of local supporters. As a result of their vision, hard work, and generosity, a great community organization was created. It now serves 10,000 members of all ages from a wide area of central Maine. It is the largest licensed child care program in the state, serving 500 children every day. It provides over 80,000 free hot meals. It operates a wellness center, has an indoor track, and 2 replica baseball parks, the Harold Alfond Fenway Park and the Purcell Wrigley Field. They hosted Maine's first ever Cal Ripken World Series. It operates a premier residential and day camp at Camp Tracy and an international karate training center. It develops teen programs supporting leadership development and job opportunities. Last year, it hired 162 teens and provided total payroll of $500,000 to teens. All of this brings recreation and economic development to the Waterville area. It is a true testament of youth workforce development. Organizations like the Alfond Youth and Community Center are critical to our communities. Through their doors and their programs, the future leaders of our society are passing. We all owe immense debts of gratitude to those who have brought us this far and to those who will take us into an even better future. To Harold Alfond and all of his family for your immense contributions to the people of Waterville and to all of Maine. To Board President Joe Reiser and all board members for all the strategic work you have done to build and improve this organization. To Dr. Meg Griffin for leading the Founders Club as you build an endowment for the future. To Jim Clark, President and CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, for being here tonight. You are here to witness what we proudly think is one of the best clubs in the country, and to all of you who have played a part in helping all of this to take place. To those of you who have not yet done so, please consider supporting the Alfond Youth and Community Center by being a mentor, joining a committee, or helping to meet the latest Harold Alfond Foundation challenge. With your help, this organization will be here, helping young people for another 100 years. Thank you all. Have a great evening.